new album, Cannibal, just came out. You know, our goal on this was to sort of get back to basics, take it back to square one, and then from that point push it in a more metallic direction. I wanted this record to be more guitar-driven, explore the metal side of things a little bit. I played in thrash metal bands before I started this band, and you know, I used to do all that fast picking and all that stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of reintroduce that into what I'm doing. One of my favorite tracks is Behemoth. I think it's the next evolution of evil disco. You know, it starts out as a straight-up dance track, dance floor, electronica, and then, you know, slowly building up the layers, adding the live drums, putting in the guitar, and like before you know it, you're like full-on banging your head, and it's a metal song. Like before you know it, it's crazy. Cannibal, I was sort of comparing meat eaters to cannibalistic killers, and you know, I see someone like gnawing on a big like turkey leg or stack of ribs or something, and you know, to me they're one step away from being a cannibal. You could like put some human meat in front of them, they, you know, might think they're eating a pork chop, like, this is good. Destroyer, real simple song, man. My goal on that song, I remember when I sat down to write that song, I had nothing in my head at all that day. I went down and I programmed the simplest drum beat, you know, 4 on the floor. Alright, I'm gonna make a song with this drum beat. So, pushed to play on the drum machine, let that loop around for a while, came up with a guitar riff, the opening riff right away, and it seemed like it was coming together, and but you know, I really wanted to take it somewhere else for the chorus, so got out my Electribe MX little keyboard thing, started messing around, got the synth bass line going for the chorus on that, and the whole song came together in about 3 hours, really. For that song, lyrically, I just was imagining a person who destroys the mood everywhere, like some drunk person at a party or whatever is all like, like talking in your face, you know, with alcohol breath and spitting on you, and you know, that kind of person knocking things over in your house, and like, I just kind of went with that for the lyrics.
Who was that song about?
It's not you, man. Maybe a little bit. For us, it's always been important to stay grounded and stay real and meet the fans as much as we can and you know, have a good time with them. So we do everything we can. I mean, you know, I go on our message board every day and, you know, write back to people if they have questions. You know, Nick's checking out our MySpace and, you know, taking care of that. And, you know, we do meet and greets whenever we can through the radio stations. You know, after the show, we'll go outside the bus, sign some autographs, take some pictures. You're nobody without your fans, and you got to remember that. You know, sometimes you're tired, and you know, it's hard to remember that, but you know, it's important. I always try to take a different approach on my lyrics for every record, and this time around, I instead of talking about personal things and you know, issues close to my life, I just picked the song titles first. Picked some really strong words that I thought were interesting, and painted a visual picture, and tried to write words that sort of help visualize that rather than telling stories. I mean, reptile is a good example. That's a cool word, you know. So for that, I imagined what it would be like being eaten alive by some giant reptile, and you know, the music kind of goes along with that feeling too. That song, that's one that Tony and I wrote together. Tony gave me a CD with some cool guitar riffs on it and a drum beat, and it was my job to make a song out of it. So I was playing the CD and trying to get used to the riffs, and in the meantime I was changing the strings on my guitar, you know, and tuning it up and all that. And I was like, wow, this is kind of a cool thing to write a song about, you know, like tuning up your guitar and plugging it into the amp and, you know, getting the tone and all that. So that's what the song's about, tuning my guitar. Yeah, we used a different producer this time around. Ulrich Wild has produced a lot of our stuff. One other time we went with a different producer on Shadow Zone, and this time around it was the same reason as then. I think sometimes it's good just to shake things up and, you know, work with someone different. And you know, Ulrich's a really good friend of mine, and when we get in a room together, it's like we kind of think the same way, and we know exactly what we're going to do, and when you work with someone that's brand new and you don't really know them that well, they throw out all these different ideas that sort of, some of them are great, some of them suck, but it basically opens new doors, and things things turn out a little bit differently that way. My vision for the record was exactly how it turned out. I wanted it to be raw and in your face and dry and not overproduced sounding, but still fat. And John Travis was an awesome choice for that. Yeah, I mean, we've gone through some lineup changes. Our original drummer, or I guess Koichi was the first guy to leave. I forget now already. He got burnt out after the whole first touring cycle. We were working really hard, and he left. We made the record without him, just as a three-piece. Anytime you bring somebody new in the band, it definitely shifts things around a little bit. I think when Nick came on board, it definitely made us a better band. It made us want to play harder. He's a much better drummer than we had before, and it definitely made us sort of aspire to be better. I got into Kiss very early on, and Kiss made me want to be a rock star and made me want to front a band, and it was the whole, I guess, extreme show and the over the top and the whole show aspect of it that really stuck with me and still does to this day. We draw from so many different genres. That's why we just kind of made up our own name called Evil Disco, because that throws people off, and they're like, "What? Evil Disco? What are you talking about?" But I mean, we draw from the obvious influences are the metal things like Pantera and Ministry and things like that. But I mean, we listen to everything, dude. I mean, I listen to old disco, Bee Gees and Donna Summer and all that stuff, all the way to the newer electronic stuff and industrial. And I mean, my favorite band is Journey, dude. So that tells you how wide our range is, We just wanted to go ahead and make a record on our own, so we didn't even tell the label about it or anything. We just went and started recording. We recorded at a bunch of different places. We did the drums at a real studio, but it was a very modest studio. Spent a couple weeks there, and then we went to a friend's garage in Eagle Rock, a little area of Los Angeles, and did all the vocals and guitar solos and all that there, and found the cheapest place we could to mix it. And it was really sort of how we did our first album. We found these little hole-in-the-wall studios, and ultimately you save a lot of money and kind of makes you work harder too.